It's a lovely good evening and welcome to Camnet TV Main News. To present, my name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Our top stories in the news tonight: former President EDGAR LUNGU to retire from active politics. RAPHAEL NAKACINDA insists on offering premature checks and balances to the government. President HAKAINDE HICHILEMA makes changes to the security wings. And in international news, last UK flight for civilians leaves as Kabul airlifts winds down. And in sports news, SPURS will top the EPL table heading into September's international break.
The Camnet October Conference is fast approaching. To participate in the forthcoming conference, you're required to book your seat by paying 750 kwacha per person per day. Date 1st and 2nd October 2021. Venue, the Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. Guest speakers include Professor Reda, Professor Munkumba, Mr. Nkuruma Kalaluka, Dr. Musonda, Dr. Sitima, Anthony from USA, Dr. Mwale, Honorable Bob Sichinga, Elias Pondela, and your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chiluba.
The deadline for payments will be 28 September 2021. Any late payment made after 28 September will attract a penalty fee of 200 kwacha per person.
Make your payments through mobile money. For MTN 096 296 5883. For Airtel 097 975 3010. Our banking details are 913 000 182 5325. Stanbic Bank, Kablonga Branch.
Hello once again, another news in detail. A 23-year-old woman whose two children are living with cerebral palsy is seeking shelter after running away from her matrimonial home following threats from her husband that he will kill the two children. Blessing Mwansa, who escaped to Mbala district of Northern Province in search of refuge at her mother's house, narrates to Camnet News that things have not been any different, as her stepfather equally wants nothing to do with her two children. She has now called on the government and well-wishers to come to her aid as she has nowhere to take her two children. We have more in this report.
23-year-old woman now living in Mbala district after fleeing Lusaka with two of her children living with cerebral palsy for fear that her husband would kill them is stranded and does not know what to do. Blessings Mwansa, who first appeared on Camnet's screen in April of 2021, was seeking help that her husband, who's a street vendor, would get a stable job that would help her and her husband look after the children.
Cerebral palsy, 5 years, 2 years. Lero mbako kwasi minganga kulishako kuli mugonse wabalengwa kwasi minga kulishako n'abalimi bandimba ndokata pali yofo bashaka amaswiti mu town minga bafulishako kusanga enchito yakwatinga sungira mu abana bantu bano konde ikalanji kala pai sister wande unsunga mandokata bakwanisho kwati nga sonkera ninganda mu nchito bali bomba.
The woman has now narrated to Camnet News that she ran away from where she was living with her husband to seek refuge in Mbala district with her mother. This was after her husband started plotting to kill the children to relieve them of the pressure. She now says life has not been easy while in Mbala, as her stepfather does not want to have anything to do with the two children. She now seeks help from government and well-wishers to help her take care of the children, who she says she does not want to abandon.
Uteko kwatenganga fuisha kwa msangoisha watapa kumoko kwa balumerandi bali nshiro bali kweta mapanga yako basi baba no kinga station twinga bepaya so nomba nalifuma ko ndikumu kuli ba mami afashwanda bena afashwanda na bena tapale ku bastoro beka na stepfather na bena bali shupa so ndero mbako kwa fuisha kwa watu uteko winganga fuisha ko na bantu wansa bali kwa winganga fuisha ko.
Cerebral palsy is a group of disorder that affects a person's ability to move and maintain balance and posture. It is the most common motor disability in childhood. There is currently no cure for cerebral palsy, but treatments are available to help people with the condition be as active and independent as possible. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
The National Democratic Congress NDC Akafumba-led faction says it is disappointed at the sentiments made by the former NDC leader Chishimba Kambwili that Mr. Akafumba has destroyed the party. Speaking in an interview with Camnet News, NDC National Coordinator Joseph Kasonde says Dr. Kambwili destroyed the future of many young future leaders when he tried to auction the NDC party to the fallen Patriotic Front. Mr. Kasonde says the party leader, Mr. Akafumba, has done his best to save the party by quickly exposing Mr. Kambwili's innuendos and tribal remarks. He has since appealed to church mother bodies and any other social agencies to help Kambwili accept defeat as he is living in denial.
You see, Chishimba Kambwili cannot be attacking our president, making comments on him. President Akafumba right now is very busy, with national duties. Being an alliance partner, he wants to see what value he can add into the HH administration. But you see, we are appealing that maybe if the relatives, the church mother bodies, social agencies, if they can be able to let him know that he's been defeated because he's living in denial. President Akafumba, he did his best. He held us together. He encouraged us. Can you campaign for President HH? And here we are today. Kambwili has destroyed the lives of many of the NDC leaders in terms of political life. Some of them wanted to stand as MPs, they wanted to stand as councillors, etc., but they were misled. But the goodness, they have all realized, and they have now started coming back to join President Akafumba's team. So we are saying everybody is even welcome, but we thought we'd take a swipe on Kambwili's utterances.
Zambia's Republican President HAKAINDE HICHILEMA says no one single person will go to jail for simply criticizing the UPND and its alliance partners on how they will govern the country. Mr. HICHILEMA says peace and unity in the country will be void if its people remain in poverty, while children are unable to go to school and graduates are unable to find employment. Speaking during a church service at State House Sunday, President HICHILEMA re-echoed his commitment to improving the lives of Zambian people by basing his rule on nothing but the truth and the fear of God. And Archbishop Telesphore Mpundu has challenged Zambians to show love and oneness to one another by coming on board and helping the poor and not leave it to government alone. We have details in this report.
For 2 consecutive days, State House grounds have housed 2 church services reaffirming the commitment that Zambia is a Christian nation and will continue to be one. The State House Sunday colorful church service was graced by the Roman Catholic and was filled with joyous people who came to give thanks and appreciate God for the wonderful things He is doing for the country of Zambia. And speaking during the service, the Archbishop Telesphore Mpundu said he is happy to see that God's voice has prevailed in Zambia through the people who spoke on 12th August 2021 by voting out injustices.
Today, we are celebrating ourselves as a nation. We have refused to accept that we are poor, that we are rich. Only the riches are misused by people we have elected to lead us. They betrayed us. And so when we went for elections, we said no to this. It is not God's will that a few have everything they need and the rest have nothing.
The Archbishop added that President HICHILEMA has a monumental task to correct the wrong, but that he cannot do it alone, but through prayer of all Zambians.
Let's compete with one another in respecting one another. That is true freedom. President and his team will find it so much easier when we are together respecting one another.
And President HICHILEMA took time to appreciate the Archbishop for the support even when he was arrested in Mukobeko maximum prison in 2017.
I said similar things to you in my apartment at Mukobeko maximum prison when you came to see. I say the same things I'm saying now. That truly you are a blessing to this country. The point of trust is one. And this State House, I said it a few days ago, these grounds are open. They are open to all the churches. All the churches.
The president has since reaffirmed his commitment to creating an enabling environment that will see to it that Zambia becomes a better country to live in.
We shall work hard. We shall work to include the people of Zambia, not to exclude them. We shall work to gather the people of Zambia, not to scatter them. We shall work not to deprive, but to offer opportunities for our people. Every talent God has given us will be applied towards this agenda. I confess here that no one should go to jail for criticizing this UPND and this alliance government. No, let's use love to conquer hate.
Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Former Republican President Edgar Lungu says he will not contest the 2026 general elections despite the Patriotic Front PF officials advising him to stay on. Speaking shortly after attending church service at All Saints United Church of Zambia UCZ in Lusaka's HAKAINDE compound Sunday, Mr. Lungu states that he will hand over the presidency of the Patriotic Front PF party to the next person as he has run his race and needs time to rest.
Speculation surrounding whether former Republican President Edgar Lungu will contest the 2026 general elections have been going round. The Patriotic Front Party recently affirmed that party members are in agreement to have the former head of state continue with the party's presidency and lead them into the country's next general elections. The former head of state, however, has clarified that he will not contest the 2026 general elections as he has already run his race and wants to give time for others to also lead the party. He was speaking shortly after attending church service at All Saints United Church of Zambia UCZ congregation in Lusaka's HAKAINDE compound Sunday.
I think it's very, very important that we give the government space to fulfill the promises they made. They promised us cheap food, they promised us free education, and all those things. And I know they are very, very difficult to fulfill, especially if we keep disturbing them. Let's leave them 5 years to fulfill.
Speaking during the church service, the former president has further called on stakeholders to give the new United Party for National Development UPND government room to operate and deliver on their promises, unlike offering unnecessary criticism.
I'm not contesting in 2026. Why are they worried? There are procedures in this matter. Just like I gave up the presidency and I had surrendered everything and I had procedure, I've handed over to President HAKAINDE HICHILEMA, I'll hand over the next president of PF. I'm not available for 2026 and PF should begin grooming itself, rebranding itself to come up with new vigor and contest elections. And those who are advising me are wasting their time because I'm very competent in understanding the law and following it. When I make a decree or a pronouncement, I want to follow it according to what is laid out. I'm available to cooperate with the president in handing over power up to this point. I'm still available to cooperate with the president of PF, soon to be named. So what is the fuss? I want to rest. I've done my part, I've run my race. So don't worry about that.
Zambia went to the polls on 12th August 2021, in which the former head of state came out second, losing to the United Party for National Development UPND, led by Mr. HAKAINDE HICHILEMA. Zipora Mushala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Meanwhile, former Minister of Water Development and Sanitation and Environmental Protection, Mr. RAPHAEL NAKACINDA, who accompanied the former president, has vowed to continue scrutinizing the operations of the United Party for National Development UPND government to ensure they deliver on their promises.
It's even more clear now that it has been prayed for. The binoculars is even more clearer now that it has been prayed for. Our job is to provide checks and balances. The UPND want to start creating an excuse for not being able to fulfill their promises. They made a mountain of promises to which the Zambian people entrust them with the responsibility of being in government. It's expected that they fulfill those promises.
The Governance Elections Advocacy Research Services (GEARS) has charged that the rising numbers of petitions for the just-ended 2021 general election calls for reflection on how the electoral process was managed in the country. GEARS Executive Director Mr. McDonald Chipenzi has told Camnet News that the campaign period ahead of the general elections was poorly managed and marred with reports of violence, which has resulted in the high number of election petitions. He says there is need to have reformation on how the electoral process in the country is done in order for it to reflect the country's democratic values. We have more in this report.
The campaign process leading to the 2021 general elections was filled with allegations of unfair application of the Public Order Act as gatherings were restricted on claims of stopping the spread of the coronavirus. This period also witnessed unprecedented levels of violence and deaths in some cases. The process was also filled with reports of vote buying, while in the most extreme cases, some candidates were accused of possessing pre-marked ballots. These allegations have led to various losing candidates, mostly those who stood for parliamentary positions, petitioning the election results. The Governance Elections Advocacy Research Services (GEARS) has charged that the high number of election petitions is a reflection of a poorly managed electoral process. GEARS Executive Director Mr. McDonald Chipenzi states that many stakeholders are not satisfied with the entire electoral process, hence the petitions.
These election petitions basically are triggered by the way the campaign period was done and conducted, or indeed administered, by those who were supposed to ensure that there was fair play during this period. And therefore, it is something that should start making us reflect on how best we can deal with this issue where petitions are reduced after an election. Because that is the sign. When petitions are reduced, it's a sign of proper management of an electoral process.
The GEARS Executive Director says there is need to change this going forward and ensure that the country's democratic tenets are upheld.
There were perceived or real threats to credibility and integrity of an election.
Article 73 of the Republican Constitution stipulates that a person may file an election petition with the High Court to challenge the election of a member of parliament, which shall be heard within 90 days from the filing in of the petition. Zipporah Mushala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
A development analyst has called for the reforming of social security schemes in the country to make them sustainable and responsive to people's needs. Mr. Louis Mwape, speaking to Camnet News, states that the 90 kwacha social cash transfer is not reflective of the country's cost of living, hence the need to come up with more sustainable mechanisms. He has also advised the United Party for National Development (UPND) government to consider extending social cash transfer to other vulnerable people in the country, as the number of Zambians living in extreme poverty stands at about 9 million of the country's population, according to the World Bank.
For example, if you look at social cash transfer, the 90 kwacha which is dispersed to our people it's not just about sustainability, but also when you look at cost effectiveness and how its impact on changing lives of our people is not there. So the need for government to reform and ensure that that amount is increased. If you look at our statistics in terms of poverty, we have about 9 million of our people that are living in abject poverty, which is about 42.8%. We also need to look at the social security facilities for those that are retiring. After retiring and you are not getting paid anything, there is need to quicken the process. I'm aware that the constitutional provision has at least helped those that are retiring from employment. But there are those that retired longer before the enforcement of the constitution. Those are undergoing destitution. So the social protection mechanism needs to be in place to ensure that our people are supported adequately.
The Zambia National Men's Network for Gender and Development has called for the localization of the printing of future ballot papers in order to save resources in the country. Men's Network National Coordinator Nelson Banda says the $3.6 million United States dollars spent on the printing of ballot papers in Dubai for the August 12, 2021 general elections could also have benefited other social sectors in the country. Mr. Banda says the huge amount could have been a game changer for the country if it was pumped into government printers or any other local printing institutions like the University of Zambia Press.
Considering to build the capacity of government printers, or at least user press, so that in the future elections, the ballot papers and other election material can be, printed here in Zambia, and this will enable us to take ownership of the printing process, as well as ensuring that the money spent remains here in Zambia, so that it can address some of the challenges that the country is facing. For instance, if that contract was given to user press, the money could have used to solve a lot of things like students' accommodation, staff issues, and so forth, other than just spending 3.6 million and create jobs outside the country. But we also have other needs where that money could have, part of that money could have been used, for instance, to on education, building health facilities, especially in rural areas where we're seeing women and girls walking long distances to access health services.
The Young Women in Action YWA has called for the resolve of gender disparities that are acting as a deterrent to achieving the 2030 goal of gender equality in Zambia. Organization Executive Director Harriet Chiwota, in an interview with Camnet News, highlights various challenges such as the failure to establish a gender commission, which will carry out evaluations to ensure that gender issues are being accounted for in institutions. She explains that such challenges need to be addressed under the newly elected United Party for National Development UPND government in order for the goal of gender equality to be attained. We have more in this report.
World over, women have often been regarded as inferior to men, hence having unequal access to land, education and economic opportunities. With increased recognition of human rights, efforts to fight this uneven balance against the female folk have also increased. To this effect, various documents have been signed or aimed at achieving gender equality, among them the Sustainable Development Goals SDGs, which Zambia and other United Nations UN member countries hope to achieve by 2030. While the country has made progress in some areas, such as introducing the re-entry policy, which allows girls that have fallen pregnant return to school after giving birth, gender experts believe that there's too many hindrances to achieving gender equality in the country. Among the challenges noted by some gender organizations is unequal access to land for women, especially in traditional setups, and few economic empowerment opportunities, among others. The establishment of a gender commission, which is mandated to carry out gender evaluation in institutions, has also stalled for many years now. Young Women in Action Executive Director Ms. Harriet Chiwota states that key to addressing this problem is to have more representation of women in decision-making positions.
In the message that they have preached of fixing it, we fix the gender representation in the governance structures, in the political spaces, as well as ensure that they promote, even at political party level, they promote gender equality in their own political party as well as other political parties, so that young people, young women specifically, vie for positions and are encouraged to participate and are given equitable space to prove and show the world that they too can actually lead and take up space.
Ms. Chiwota further states that long distances to schools in rural areas also act as a deterrent to girls attaining an education, and explains that such issues must be placed top priority in the education sector.
Ensuring that there is schools in literally every place. We have worked in rural areas, and we've come to notice that some schools are very, very far from residential areas, and girls fail to make it because of the different social norms that we have. First of all, they have chores at home, and then if it's too far, the girls are afraid they may be attacked on the roads. So it's very important that schools are nearby, and we promote girl child education.
Zambia has 9 more years to break down barriers that hinder gender equality before the 2030 deadline. Zipporah Mushala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Professional Teachers Union of Zambia, PROTUS, has called on schools across the country to continue making efforts of being self-sustaining, even in the new government. Union General Secretary Kangwa Musenge says while the manifesto of the newly elected United Party for National Development UPND government promises to fully support the education sector in a bid to promote inclusive education, this does not mean that schools should abandon income-generating activities such as production units. He states that schools should continue making efforts to be self-sustaining so that whatever funds will be given to them will only be meant to cushion their needs and ensure that all extra funds are directed towards other budgetary needs in the education sector.
The current manifesto for the UPND is very attractive in the section of the Ministry of Education sector. But what we want to employ is those projects which were extremely very effective, like production units, should continue, and we don't want to hear that they have been stopped, because those that it was bringing back life to schools and adding on the financial status of schools. And I don't think the current government has made pronouncement to abandon that. It is a continuation which we believe should proceed, and we want to hope and see the production unit even intensify in the new environment, because there's too much encouragement and hope that initiatives like production unit should even be on a larger scale than it was before.
This is Camnet TV, not just another channel. We are watching the main news. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more news after the break.
It's your time to celebrate the August 2021 Back to School with Butter Toffees. Visit your nearest Butter outlet countrywide, purchase a pair of genuine leather Butter Toffees and get a free special edition of Butter branded spiral notebook for every purchase. Remember, promotion runs from the 19th of August to the 19th of September 2021. Hurry while stocks last. Butter Toffees, made strong to last long. T's and C's apply.
Would you like to win some cool cash? Say no more. Stand a chance to win your share of 1 million kwacha. Simply make a transaction from your Zamtel mobile money account and you could be one of weekly winners of up to 10,000 kwacha. Be empowered with Zamtel mobile money. Dial *344# to activate your account. This promotion runs from 28th July to 31st October 2021. Zamtel, your digital lifestyle partner.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
In this fast-paced era of industrial boom and population growth, there is need to invest in smart ways of managing electricity and water consumption and reducing utility billing costs associated with the postpaid billing system. At Savenda Electronics, we manufacture right here in Zambia different types of high-quality smart electricity and water meters to customer specifications. Savenda Electronics water and electricity meters help you monitor your usage and gives notifications such as low units, tampering, low battery, and many other features. These easy-to-use meters makes it easier to buy units even in these COVID times and top up just from the comfort of your space. Favorable contract terms are available to both electricity and water utilities. For more details, get in touch with us on the following numbers: 0956 580 349 or 0977 498 318. Savenda Electronics, the real deal.
Africa is rising to a new dawn. integrity and accountability. Are you tired of being swindled or buying fake or illegal properties? Would you like to sell or buy genuine property? Would you like to list your property on both local and international market? Don't waste your time. Call the professionals, the SGK Properties, on +260 762 166 018. SGK Properties. Your business assurance is our priority.
Welcome back. We continue with the news. Republican President HAKAINDE HICHILEMA has made changes in Zambia's security wings, namely the Zambia Army, the Zambia National Air Force, and the Zambia National Service ZNS. Among the changes include Zambia Police Inspector General Kakoma Kanganja being replaced with Elemi Kajoba. Announcing the changes at his residence Sunday, the head of state has also appointed Doris Chiwombe as Deputy Inspector General of Police in charge of administration. President HICHILEMA has further relieved all police commissioners of their duties.
I have relieved with immediate effect the services of the Lieutenant General William Sikazwe as Army Commander. I'm also recalling the Brigadier General Godfrey Jele and appointing him as the new Deputy Army Commander. I have relieved with immediate effect the services of Lieutenant General David Michael Muma. I'm also appointing Brigadier General Oscar Musitu Nyoni. Brigadier General Oscar Musitu Nyoni as the new Deputy Air Commander and Chief of Staff, and invariably promote him to the rank of Major General with immediate effect. Police Service. Mr. Remy Kajoba to take over as new Inspector General of Police. I have relieved with immediate effect services of Mr. Kakoma Kanganja as Inspector General of the Zambia Police Service with immediate effect, and equally he will be relocated, reassigned elsewhere. I'm also recalling Mr. Milna Muyambango and appointing him as the new Deputy Inspector General of Police Operations with immediate effect. Mr. Milna Muyambango. Within the Zambia Police Service, I'm appointing MS Doris Nayame Chibombe as the new Deputy Inspector General of Police Administration with immediate effect. MS Doris Nayame Chibombe as Deputy Inspector General of Police in charge of administration. I have relieved Mrs. MS Charit Katanga as Deputy Inspector General of Police Operations with immediate effect. I have relieved services of Mr. Richard Mwene as Deputy Inspector General of Police Administration with immediate effect. So Madam Doris Katanga leaves the Deputy Inspector Generalship Operations. Mr. Richard Mwene too leaves that portfolio and leaves it to the colleagues that are assigned above. Further, I'm relieving all commissioners of police from their duties with immediate effect.
The Jesuit Center for Theological Reflection, JCTR, has charged that President HAKAINDE HICHILEMA and his team have an odious task to fix a shrinking economy and put it on a growth trajectory. JCTR Executive Director Father Alex Muyebe says the expectations from the Zambian people who turned out to vote en masse amid widespread poverty, high youth unemployment and general economic decline as evidenced from the high cost of living and unsustainable external debt are too high. Father Muyeba says President HICHILEMA and his administration are expected to implement economic reforms that will put Zambia on a more sustainable fiscal footing liquidate foreign debt and secure a bailout loan package from the International Monetary Fund, IMF.
It is gratifying to learn that President HAKAINDE HICHILEMA is getting down to work to deliver on promises and expectations. HH and his team has an arduous task to fix a shrinking economy and put it on a growth trajectory. Expectations from the Zambian people who turned out to vote en masse amid widespread poverty, high youth unemployment, and general economic decline as evidence from the high cost of living and unsustainable external debt are too high. However, the question yet to be answered is whether HH's team will buy into this model of leadership. HH needs the support of a game-changing team. Does each member of his team share his vision? The danger is that if there are some individuals within his team who don't share and internalize this model of leadership, and for that matter, other goals he has set for himself and his administration, such as a zero tolerance to corruption, these individuals are likely to militate against their leader and his vision.
Lusaka residents have demanded a significant price fall of milli meal, saying that the prices should at least fall to less than 100 kwacha per 25 kilogram bag. Residents are optimistic that the general fall of their prices noticed recently should be stabilized so as to allow residents to afford purchasing the commodity. And shop owners say the prices are expected to reduce significantly by next week, according to their suppliers. Meanwhile, a 25 kg bag of milli meal is now going at around 30 to 35 kwacha from an initial price of 40 kwacha per 25 kg bag. More in this report.
In the recent past, Zambian people purchased a 50 kilograms bag of milli meal at between 170 to 200 kwacha. Among the main issues promised by the new administration under the United Party for National Development, UPND, was a sharp reduction of fuel and milli meal prices, among other key issues that affects the citizens. A gradual fall of milli meal prices to now between 130 to 135 kwacha gives hope to residents of Lusaka who demands for even a further reduction to as low as 50 kwacha per 25 kg.
Unga ubwerere pa 50 kwacha. Saladi kulivena sakwanisa na yamene yoite kwacha na 70 kwacha. Tikwanisa tepe kugula pamela unga. Ekayeka maona ko. So pamela unga ngati abana batiteni ngakwanisa kuti.
And shop owners are optimistic that the observed drop in prices assures a smooth business for them, since many will be affording to purchase the commodity.
Reducing my prices ya unga vindu vingankaribu maningi tina ma customers wamene wamabwera kwa unga pesa ni 135 so ya 135 but unga kuyesa kuleta ko 100 kwacha ingankaribu ino maningi kaija reduce ya 35 our customer ngakwanisa kutenga ko blade majigizi y'abana maroli poko kaibana mafuna abasekera kaona koro yakombo so unga in fact kubwera mu 100 kwacha chingankari mushe manini
si apatuo the 120 ati ugulisa 125 ya kwacha so mairo tunakabisa na wewe nani utati manje atizavendera zafika kuri 115 na 110 zafika kuna vendere manini so bantu bagure nice to differs.
President HAKAINDE HICHILEMA has on a number of occasions reaffirmed his commitment to the Zambian people. One can only patiently wait for the better. Alex Shimba, Camnet News, Lusaka.
We would like to correct the story whereby a 25 kg bag of milli meal was announced at going at 35 kwacha, and instead it's going at 135 instead of 35 kwacha, and that's the 25 kg bag of milli meal. We sincerely apologize for that erroneous reporting. Marketers of HAKAINDE market are asking authorities to provide a good market structure. Market chair lady Irene Tailachi says it is unfortunate that the issue has been reported to authorities countless times, but to no avail. Ms. Tailachi has since called on the new administration and well wishers to speed up the already started process of constructing a new market for the traders in HAKAINDE compound. We have more in this report.
But during the unique days, the HAKAINDE market barely firmly stands, if not for a metal bar placed between the structure for support. Its users only trade inside for the sake of raising the little monies to feed their families. Traders are feared for their lives, saying it is risky trading inside, hence opt for outside premises. The ruined structure has forced about 36 members of the said market to venture just along the HAKAINDE road to fetch for more customers. Following a number of attempts by the authorities to clear up the road by chasing traders, the market chair lady, Irene Tailachi, explains the impact of the situation on traders' businesses.
Almost the number of 36 as members of the market, but space market, Nimono. And if you look at the state of the market this time, situation ya market here to see the yakutinga chitoki price was pano. The market is small, and then the roof, it can collapse any time. It's a death trap kubantu. Chizakagwa chija. Chizakipaya so tipempa government. Kuti yanga neko ise bantu marketeers pano wakati building ina market kulu kubanzatu benangwa hapa. Tizange na wose. We are willing, very much willing, because ikabwero rain season tibutika maningi. So we are looking forward kuti the government watiangane kona isa watipangile ko modern market kulisa. Yochita occupy itonse.
And traders further laments the bad management of the situation by the authorities.
Como ikafika kwankalazi akutithenga ivote timlibe muno inankala chabe west manje isigulisa ise muno bantu sanga bwere muno bagula che marodi muno bantu bakanongena tichimarket chingatigwere singakwanise mvula ikaloka tichitotantula chabe tafika mnyanzi.
Meanwhile, market committee member Oscar Kabwe has called on the new government to construct a new market and expand the capacity to accommodate other traders in the area.
WDC program na development kuvenga tukambalilali kulibesa na tuuze vilivonse so nice tukali kwembekezela time yokuti ni time iti amena zaka boro chitali habilitate olo kumanga che marketing and so that space ya market ya kula kuli bana mabali panse abali mukati bonse baba pam cause abali mukati bala complain ko ati business tabalekwata. That's because of whatever concept.
The hope of the traders is that a new market could be constructed before the rain season this year. Alex Shimba, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Passion for Humanity organization has continued to distribute relief food to 500 vulnerable households and persons living with HIV/AIDS in Lusaka and Chinyunyu. In an interview with Camnet News, Passion for Humanity coordinator Kasiti Zulu says the distribution of the food has had a great impact on the beneficiaries. We have more in the following report.
Despite the challenges caused by COVID-19, Passion for Humanity and other stakeholders have continued to distribute emergency life-saving humanitarian food supplies in Lusaka. The food supplies are meant to reduce on hunger crisis in some parts of Lusaka and Chinyunyu. In an interview with Camnet News, Passion for Humanity coordinator Kasiti Zulu says the project has had a great impact on the beneficiaries, who are the vulnerable households and people living with HIV and AIDS.
And at least it has even given us results. From the community health center that we have in Chinyunyu, we are working with 2 clinics, that is Bunda Bunda and Chinyunyu Clinic. We have got about 607 clients who are on ARVs, and we make sure we provide food supplement to our clients.
Mr. Zulu has disclosed that the food being distributed in schools has gone a long way in helping improve learner performance.
I've got 2 schools that we support, that is Bundabunda Temaresa Primary School and Chinyonyo Rock School, it's a community school. You know, in rural areas, people, they cover a long distance just to go and have education. And they move with empty stomachs, so they don't concentrate. So with the little that we have decided we give them porridge, that is EPS.
Everyone deserves good health, and that includes 3 proper meals in a day. Blessings Chakwila, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Small-Scale Farmers Development Agency has questioned the United Party for National Development's promise of the sharp reduction of fertilizer from the current 800 kwacha per 50 kilogram bag to 250 kwacha, saying it is not practical. SAFADA Director Boyd Morwe explains that the promise may not be achieved too soon because Zambia has a long way to go in addressing critical economic challenges. Hence, farmers wonder if the prices of farm inputs and farm equipment will come down this year. He has further stated that through a statement made available to Camnet TV that the UPND should not, like the previous governments, focus on fertilizer with little concern on the markets and pricing factors. You're watching Camnet TV News. We'll take another break. We'll be back with international and sports news.
At Master Signs, our services range from outdoor, indoor signage such as billboards, banners, 3D light boxes, pylons and neon signs. We are located at plot number 397A, Makeni Road, Lusaka, at Oryx Filling Station. For more details, call us on +260 967 100 090 or +260 966 999 981, or better still, email us at infomastersign@gmail.com. Master Sign, we will make it shine.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda Electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962 642 490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
It's your time to celebrate the August 2021 Back to School with Butter Toffees. Visit your nearest Butter outlet countrywide, purchase a pair of genuine leather Butter Toffees and get a free special edition of Butter branded spiral notebook for every purchase. Remember, promotion runs from the 19th of August to the 19th of September 2021. Hurry while stocks last. Butter Toffees, made strong to last long. T's and C's apply.
The Camnet October Conference is fast approaching. To participate in the forthcoming conference, you're required to book your seat by paying 750 kwacha per person per day. Date 1st and 2nd October 2021. Venue, the Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. Guest speakers include Professor Reda, Professor Munkumba, Mr. Nkuruma Kalaluka, Dr. Musonda, Dr. Sitima, Anthony from USA, Dr. Mwale, Honorable Bob Sichinga, Elias Bondela, and your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chiluba.
The deadline for payments will be 28th September 2021. Any late payment made after 28th September will attract a penalty fee of 200 kwacha per person.
Make your payments through mobile money. For MTN 096 296 5883. For Airtel 097 975 3010. Our banking details are 913-000-182-5325. Stanbic Bank, Kablonga Branch.
Welcome back. We now look at international news. In Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, approximately 2,000 people whose homes and fields were destroyed by volcanic eruption have created temporary homes made from plastic bags and sticks while they wait to be rehoused. The families who lost everything when Mount Nyiragongo erupted are concerned about the problems they will face in their makeshift accommodation during the rainy season. Sifa Asikuye sleeps in a small makeshift tent with her 2 grandchildren that she has been raising since her daughter died 12 years ago. Meanwhile, the last British military flight has left Kabul, taking the United Kingdom's remaining diplomats and troops out of Afghanistan. It marks the end of nearly 20 years of a British military presence. The final flight carrying Afghan civilians left earlier on Saturday. But hundreds of people entitled to resettlement in the UK have been left behind.
In this suburb of Goma in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, a sprawling makeshift tent village has emerged. This is where people displaced by a volcanic eruption 3 months ago are living. The government is yet to rehouse them. When it rains, I don't move from here. I don't have anything to cover myself with, no blankets, and I spend the night here. We sleep in very bad conditions when it rains. We don't have anything to do, we don't have houses, we don't have fields to cultivate. We live in misery. We do not understand our Congolese government. We ask for help, especially during this period when it rains. About 2,000 people lost their homes and crop fields when Mount Nyiragongo spewed hot lava in May, killing dozens. Authorities have promised temporary homes for the displaced, but the humanitarian crisis persists. There's always the problem of rain. The rain with this population brings risks of many diseases. Because we are in an area where the rains are always here, even during the dry season. So there will always be the problem of waterborne diseases. This is what should concern the Congolese government. The volcano erupted without a warning from the authorities. It later emerged that scientists monitoring Mount Nyiragongo had stopped working due to a lack of funds.
Her name is Hava, Eve in English, and she's just entered a world full of hope and uncertainty. Her Afghan parents were evacuated from Kabul to Dubai, where they caught a Turkish Airlines flight to the UK. Helped by the cabin crew, her mum Soman had to give birth on board. As Hava arrived, the British military confirmed it was ending its flights carrying civilians. France has done the same. Shakiba, an Afghan actress living in France, managed to get her mother and brother out of Afghanistan at the last minute. As in so many cases, it involved days of frantic phone calls to people on the ground at the airport.
I've rediscovered the smell of my mother, and it's something that I'd forgotten. My mother's tears reminded me of the tears she shed when I left Afghanistan. It was really moving. A lot of emotions today.
Shabir, an Afghan journalist, filmed himself as he and 9 close relatives waited to get onto one of the final evacuation flights. He's now in Spain.
Spending a night and day in the airport and the gate was one of the worst experiences I have ever had. I never was forced to spend the night with my family in an open place like that with thousands of people, not in the worst days of Afghanistan.
Shabir and his family are now seeking asylum, but the British government admits up to 1,100 Afghans eligible to be resettled in the UK, mainly because they worked with British troops, are being left behind. The head of the UK Armed Forces says it's heartbreaking.
Personally, I've probably had over 100 messages from different Afghans who I know in my long association with the country, and many of those friends of mine won't make it out.
At this small organisation near London, they're scrambling to help people still trying to get out of Afghanistan. Their founder says it's clear there are many still in danger.
The British government should act immediately in order to save the life of other thousands of other people who have been working for the past 20 years supporting the NATO mission.
As these Afghan civilians arrived in Rome, a NATO representative said his team had done everything they could.
I'm satisfied because we have left a few behind, which we are not abandoning, but which we will strive our best to take back home.
As the sun sets on the military evacuations, the question now is how many more people who fear for their lives will be able to leave Afghanistan, and how? Nadeem Barber, Al Jazeera.
It's now time for sports news. And in sports news, Son Heung-min marked his 200th Premier League appearance with the winning goal as Tottenham maintained their 100% start to the season against Watford. The result means Spurs will top the table heading into September's international break, while Watford are 12th. It also sees Nuno Espirito Santo become just the second Tottenham boss to win his first 3 league games in charge of the club, with the last man to accomplish that feat being Arthur Rowe in 1949. But they were made to work hard for their victory by an accomplished Watford side who were unfortunate to concede when Son's in-swing free kick deceived goalkeeper Daniel Bachmann and found the bottom right corner. That footballing story brings us to the end of the news, but we take a look at the stories making headlines again. Former President Edgar Lungu to retire from active politics. RAPHAEL NAKACINDA insists on offering premature checks and balances to the government. President HAKAINDE HICHILEMA makes changes to security wings. In international news, last UK flight for civilians leaves as Kabul airlift winds down, and in sports news, Spurs will top the EPL table heading into September's international break. We now look at the Camnet verse of the day, which is coming from the book of 2 Timothy chapter 2 verse 15, and it reads, "Be diligent to present yourself approved to God, a worker who doesn't need to be ashamed, correctly teaching the word of truth. But avoid irreverent, empty speech, for this will produce an even greater measure of godlessness." On that note, we come to the end of the news. Thanks for watching. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Good night.